intrepid reporter, and the blurry one, Ryan Pike. Hello, Pike.
Back in the lobby.
Hey, boys. How you doing?
We're great. How are we?
It's been a hectic morning. A lot of running around. Well, let me just wipe off my screen so I can at least pretend to be professional.
We're good. It's all right. We understand. You're out and about. So game day for the Flames. It's New Jersey. Tell us about your day so far.
I mean, just straight shot from Manhattan into scenic Newark on New Jersey Transit. Bumped into there's a few Flames fans on the trip. I know there's a lot of fans that like making a week of it. There's a few on my flight in. I suspect there'll be a few on my flight out. And then we saw a bunch of them in New York. I suspect I'll see a lot of them in New Jersey. We'll see probably a bunch of them on Long Island too. So yeah, and then just sort of getting the lay of the land. Caught up a bit with our dear friend Greg Wazinski, who everyone knows him from Puck Daddy and ESPN. He appears on the sheet once a week with their pal Greg Merrick or Jeff Merrick. They're basically one person because they've worked together so much and so long. But that's it's a good morning. It's always nice to see some familiar faces in unfamiliar places for us.
So what's that like to go hotel to New Jersey? Because when you live in Western Canada, you assume that every franchise is 400 to 600 kilometers apart, but not so over there.
No. I mean, it's Manhattan. You can take a train to Long Island in about 30-ish minutes. You can take a train the other direction to New Jersey in 30-ish minutes, and the rinks are all relatively close to transit, so it's not too bad.
Wolf in the starters net. You broke that news this morning from Skate. Any surprise there? It is Vladar coming off the win 2 nights ago.
Well, I mean, historically they do the goalie alternation on back-to-backs, and I think especially if the first game is Wolf, and the plan was probably based on how the last road trip went. They had 6 games. Each guy got 3. I think each guy played pretty well. So I think on paper I would suspect we see Wolf this evening, and then on Saturday afternoon maybe we see Dan Vladar again. That's sort of how they typically would lay it out, but you never know. I wouldn't rule out seeing Wolf again against the Islanders, depending on how this night goes. I mean, Dan Vladar was very good when he needed to be. He did not need to be great very often against the Rangers, and I think the big thing the Flames have been saying is even on nights I asked Ryan Huska sort of about Wolf's ability to bounce back from bad outings, and I misspoke. I did not mean to say the phrase bad, but bad by Justin Wolf standards is still a pretty good outing for everybody else. But he's been really good at bouncing back from bad outings, and I think generally speaking, the Flames have been on nights where their goalies don't have a great night, you can usually look at the guys ahead of them and go, yeah, but what kind of chances they face. So I think the Flames feel like probably the skaters in front of them feel like they owe him one for how messy Toronto got. And I think, if you put Wolf in a situation like Dan Vladar got on Tuesday, that kind of an outing where he didn't need to be amazing much of the night, I think that's a much more sustainable way to win. So that's a long way of saying I'm not really all that surprised, but it sort of maps out to how they typically have done it.
Hard to know with this team. I guess it's not really the right way to put it. They generally give you a pretty good effort. Did not see the Toronto one coming where they just kind of laid an egg, and maybe that's Toronto and there's guys from there. I don't know. But then really responded against the Rangers, and maybe it's the Rangers that needed to look in the mirror. How do you try and forecast what Flames team shows up tonight? Because we've seen 2 very different teams through 2 games on this trip.
Yeah, and they saw 2 very different opponents on this trip. I mean, the Leafs were pretty good, and then they got their power play just took over the game in the second period. But the Flames also took, to be blunt, a few dumb penalties in the second period and let the game get away from them. And the Flames probably could have scored more than they did against the Leafs, but they just sort of, it's what's the old cliche. Sometimes you find ways to lose, and sometimes you find ways to win. The Flames, Shesterkin was very good on Tuesday, but they did a good job to, keep peppering them. I mean, there's probably, a few dozen chances that could have gone in, and they managed to get enough. But, I think the big challenge for the Flames is, can they impose their will on a game? Because, when the Flames we use the term flamesy. I think Jonathan Huberdeau's phrase was, "That's the Flames way." Finding ways to sort of keep games tight, checking, low scoring, and sort of turn them into a bit of a muck and a grind. If you let the Leafs skate, they'll hurt you. And the Flames, unfortunately, gave the Leafs enough space to skate, and they hurt them. The Devils, I think, are pretty similar to the Leafs in that way, where if you don't sort of force them to play the game your way and play through you, you might be in for a long night. So, I wish I had the answer for you, because it's been the kind of thing where I think the nice thing for the Flames is they have that identity. They know how they need to play to be successful. And to be blunt, I think it's kind of an onerous way to play a game, because you have to sort of be on your game and on your checks, and you don't really have a margin for error. And some nights, if you make a mistake, the game can spiral on you. And for the Rangers, the Flames didn't make too many mistakes outside of that turnover and the blown tire by Weegar in the first period. And when the few other mistakes they made, Vladar bailed them out. I think the Flames are hoping for another game somewhat similar to the Rangers game, where they just play it nice and simple and keep it at 5-on-5, and then just sort of roll their guys, because that's what they were able to do against the Rangers. And they were very successful playing that style.
Thoughts on the new look top six? You got Morgan Frost with Huberdeau and Coronado. That's an interesting trio. And then they've got the youngsters, Zary and Pospisil, back with Kadri, where we saw their baptism in the NHL 2 falls ago.
Kadri and the kids back together again. I think, if we're being honest here, I think the Flames put the 6 guys that have it going together. Coronado has been one of the more consistent offensive players all year. So has Jonathan Huberdeau. Morgan Frost has been a really nice, quiet player, but he's been doing a lot of good things. Like, he's not noticeable because he's always doing good things. And that top line, I mean, there's a reason why they put them together in the first place. You have Zary's speed, you have Pospisil's physicality, and you have Kadri's ability to just move and shoot the puck. I think that's a good combination, guys. I think the big challenge for them is, once you get past that top 6, then you sort of hit some guys that don't really have, really clear roles. The third line is sort of the leftovers, for lack of a better term. All due respect to the players, but Sharon Govich ain't having the year that he would like to have had. I think that's no secret here. Coleman is a really reliable player, and I think he's sort of possibly being asked to be the defensive conscience on that line. Hopefully allowing Sharon Govich to get a little bit more going offensively. Farabee's been rock solid, but his offense has been sporadic. So I think if you're the Flames, you're hoping that your bottom 6 guys can sort of saw off at even against the other team's best players, and you're hoping that top 6 can keep producing, because again, I feel like we're punching down on the Rangers a bit, but against the Rangers, those top 2 lines did a lot of really good things. They were creative. They both lines, I think combined, Coronado and Huberdeau had 10 shots. So just that trio alone probably outshot the Rangers. And if you have a line that outshoots your opponents, you're probably doing okay.
Were you there for the Devils skate? I'm just curious, not that you're going to pick up the vibe of an entire franchise at a morning skate, but it's got to stink where you're one of the favorites coming into the season as far as betting is concerned. People expect you to be a strong team, and then you lose your top player and your top defenseman. You're without the goaltender that you traded for, the kingpin goalie for a stretch of time as well. The injury bug has been brutal for the Devils, but you still have to play games. And they're still very good in spite of it. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to play probably Carolina in round number 1, but it would have to stink to see Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton go down within about a week of each other.
Yeah, and I think they're also without Siegenthaler, who sort of a really, really good player. He eats up a lot of minutes. I missed the Rangers skate. I came in right after the Rangers skate from Manhattan. It sounds like we'll get Markstrom tonight, and I think the best comp you can pay as Devils is that we talk about sort of the standard of play and culture and all those things about the Flames and Ryan Huska. I think Sheldon Keefe's done a really nice job in New Jersey this season, sort of laying that foundation for the baseline expectation of how the team needs to look. And so when they don't get that, they shuffle the deck. And they've lost 1 out of the last 5. They've been playing a lot of close games like the Flames. They had one game that really got away from them, but the rest of the time, if they can make you play their game, if they get skating and they're able to use, even the guys they quote unquote have left over on the blue line are still pretty good. They've done a good job sort of filling in with guys from Utica, filling in with guys from throughout their system. And, they're a team that does a lot of things that can frustrate. And, very quietly, they've been one of the best special teams in the National Hockey League. And, we talk about how, if you're the Flames, you're just hoping like, oh man, you can keep it a 5-on-5. You're pretty happy. If you're the Devils, you're hoping you sort of turn every game into a special teams battle because, 5-on-5, they're pretty decent. But once you get that advantage they have on special teams, their penalty kill is really good. Their power play is very, very good. Even with the guys they have missing, I think they can still be dangerous with both those units. And, you basically are forced to sort of play a game that, doesn't take too many physical risks against them because they can hurt you in a lot of different ways.
Have you had a chance? I guess we were talking earlier. People are going to want to know about what you've been eating, what you've been doing last night in Manhattan. Give us the Ryan Pike in NYC update.
A lot of bagels so far. We haven't had a lot of street meats, but a lot of bagels. Did Shake Shack already. It's a lot of running around. We did. I think we went to a Broadway show last night. We're doing another Broadway show on Friday. So it's basically I'm alternating games and Broadway shows. So you guys have better halves. It's all about the balancing act of keeping all the stakeholders happy. And so
what did you go see?
We saw Moulin Rouge over on the west side. So
gotcha.
It was good. And I think we got Book of Mormon tomorrow.
Oh, very funny.
It's tremendous. It's tremendous. Yeah.
Is that not the South Park guys that wrote that one?
It is. Yeah.
Amazing.
Matt and Trey Parker. Yeah. It's very funny. You'll enjoy it.
Thanks, Pike.
Thanks, Pike.
Yes.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.